What's up, you beauties? Welcome back to our channel, HW Hockey. And today we've got some major breaking news from earlier this week in the NHL. Patrik Laine has requested a trade out of Columbus. Stick around as we dive into the details of the shocking development and what led to it, what it means for the Blue Jackets and Laine's future. Are there any Flyers connections? We're going to find out. For those who might not know, Patrik Laine was acquired by the Columbus Blue Jackets in a trade with the Winnipeg Jets back in January 2021. The trade also involved Pierre-Luc Dubois heading to Winnipeg. This was a high-profile move, and obviously NHL fans, specifically Columbus and Winnipeg, were excited. However, Laine's time in Columbus hasn't been smooth sailing. Despite showing flashes of brilliance, Laine was almost a point-per-game player for 2 straight years. 56 points in 56 games in one of his 4 seasons. His performance has been somewhat inconsistent. He struggled with a steady role within the team. He struggled to stay healthy. I don't think he's come close to playing a full season. We're looking at 45 games in 2021, 56, 55, and then 18 in his most recent season. Scored 26 goals, 22 goals, 56 points, 52 points. So, as I mentioned, almost a point-per-game player for 2 straight years. He earlier this week, as I mentioned, wants a trade. Why does he want out? There's several factors at play here. And I think the first one is his role on the team. Columbus has been experimenting with Laine at center. Obviously, he plays more wing. He's expressed frustration over his usage and coaching strategies. And obviously, he's playing in Columbus, right? Like, how many guys actually want to play in Columbus? It's like every other year, we're hearing about star players wanting to leave Columbus. So there's something there. I guess number 2 would have to be the team's performance. Columbus has been bottom of the league despite, making some of these additions. They acquired Ivan Provorov last year. They acquired the defenseman from the Devils, Damon Severson, and things haven't really gone according to plan. Johnny Gaudreau, and somehow they still find themselves bottom of the league. Obviously, they were able to draft Adam Fantilli at the top of last year's NHL draft, which is going to be a very great player. There's a foundation here, at least in Columbus, but we know that they also made the coaching blunder. They went and hired Mike Babcock for some reason, and that lasted a few weeks. They ended up firing GM Jarmo Kekalainen, and so there's some turnover. There's coaching turnover. There's front office turnover, and Laine's had his own struggles, mental things going on. Took a break from hockey for a little bit, got his mind right, and I guess for him, he just wants to turn the page a little bit here. So that's sub point 2. The third point would have to be the overall direction of the franchise. As I mentioned, the team, I think most people consider Columbus rebuilding, but as I mentioned, they've added all these players who don't really fit a rebuild in the last year or so. I mentioned Gaudreau, Provorov, Severson. Don't really know what's going on. So maybe the direction of the franchise is changing. And maybe Laine is going to be looking for a more competitive environment where he can maybe make the playoffs and chase a cup a little bit quicker than he can in Columbus. So obviously the big question is, where could Laine end up? And that is an interesting question because the way I view Laine is a goal scorer, pure offensive player. A lot of teams could use that, right? I think in my eyes, teams that are already kind of built and can add the luxury of a goal scorer. So let's get into a couple teams here. Team number 1, and this might surprise you guys a little bit, but I have the Los Angeles Kings as destination 1. They have cap space. They've got a young core, and they could use a prolific scorer like Laine. Obviously, they would have to move something the other way. Not sure what it is, but I have the Kings. They underachieved a little bit this year, I think. And maybe a Laine gets it done there. They have younger players who they can still move. Guys, I'm thinking of, why is it? Oh, Arthur Kaliev is a guy maybe could go the other way. Turcotte is a guy that could go the other way. They have pieces to acquire a Laine. Number 2, you guys might not like this one. I don't like it. The New York Rangers With their recent success, and they do have a strong roster, adding a Laine would make them serious contenders. We look at last year, they added guys like Tarasenko. They added guys like Patrik Laine. I mean, what were they? Their power play was very good this year, but they could have used a score. They could use some more goals against a team like Florida. So we'll see. Hope not. I know that they just re-upped Caco Capo for another season, but I could see Laine going out there. I know they signed Wheeler. I think it was last year. I'm not sure if he's got another year, but they're going to need to replace him. And, they need some more depth scoring in New York, I believe. So maybe Laine fits that bill. We'll see. Third team, and if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Flyers, you're going to like this one. But the Flyers. Obviously, the Flyers have been looking to add star power. Laine could be a fit for their offensive needs. Can he play center? He was experimented with Columbus. And, without having watched his games, the point totals are there. I'm not sure for how long of those stretches he actually played center, but there's something there. Maybe this is a guy the Flyers find and they experiment and all of a sudden they have a center in Laine. We'll see. But I do have the Flyers on the list. Flyers obviously have the assets to trade Columbus. They just made a huge deal with Columbus last summer, including Ivan Provorov, where the Flyers were able to get another first-round pick. I think it ended up being Oliver Bonk. Is there a move to be made there? The Flyers have 4 first-round picks in the next 2 drafts to go along with 4 second-round picks in the next 2 drafts. The Flyers have the ammunition. Can they get a deal done for Patrik Laine? The pieces are there. Do the Flyers feel like Laine is a player that can help this team? Matvei Michkov's coming over. What do the numbers look like with those two playing together? We'll find out. I mean, maybe we'll find out, but I think the Flyers should be a serious team looking to trade for Patrik Laine. And in my 4th team, the dark horse would be the Utah Hockey Club. There's not a lot of pressure to succeed, in my opinion, yet as a player in Utah. They're just happy they have a team. Maybe there's not a lot of stress out there. So, Laine, as I mentioned earlier, with sort of the mental stuff he was going through, maybe it's an environment change. Utah's it's very pretty out there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it does something for him where he's moved to Utah and gets Utah excited for a new potential star player out there right off the bat. So I have Utah as kind of my underdog there. But yeah, so just a quick run through. I have the Los Angeles Kings, New York Rangers, Philadelphia Flyers, with Utah as my kind of dark horse in a trade there. So let's kind of move along real quick here. Now, what kind of impact would this create for the Columbus Blue Jackets? Obviously, losing Laine would be a big blow to their offense. One of the most talented offensive players on their roster. It would put pressure on management to get a good return. Like I mentioned, guys, they have a new GM, a new coach. This is maybe a team where, they could be taken advantage of a little bit here. Laine hasn't played a full season in years. Does he want to play hockey? Is he mentally okay? These are questions that other teams should be asking. What are we trading for here exactly? We know the upside, but if he's not playing games, what good is he? And it sounds kind of crappy to say, but the best ability is availability. And the guy can be one of the best players in the world. If he's not playing games, it doesn't matter. So what's the team going to give up for Laine? Is he a guy that teams are going to try to get him at a discount? We'll see. Who's going to step up to the plate? They're going to try take advantage of new management. We'll find out. Finally, is a Laine trade going to affect fan morale? Right? The Blue Jacket fans, in such a short time, they've gone through a lot. Losing another star player wouldn't be easy for them. It seems like they always get excited, like, oh, they get a Panarin, they get a Laine, they get a this guy, or that guy. And they've been one of the worst franchises, unfortunately, since they've come into the league. I know they get a lot of these players and they're trying out there, but it's just not a destination city, unfortunately. So, keeping these players and hanging on to these players has been tough. So yeah, you got to feel for the fans a little bit. It's been rough. So let's move on to our final thoughts here before we wrap this up. Let's take a look, right? So if you guys scroll Twitter, there's a lot of reactions. Like I mentioned, fans are going to be upset. Uh, which teams are going to get them? Those fans are maybe getting a good player. Is this a player that I think the Flyers should kick the tires on? Yes. Is this a player where I think they should be giving up premium assets? I don't know about that. I don't know. Laine feels like he comes with baggage for me. And I guess the question would be, does the baggage outweigh the potential production? That's a chance, that's a chance they'd have to be willing to take. I don't know that I'd be willing to take on that chance with where the team is right now. If they were to trade for him and things went south, there's just been too much too soon with that kind of stuff. Nolan Patrick, Ryan Ellis, Cutter Gauthier can go into that category. They've traded for Jamie Drysdale. If things go south with him injury-wise, fans aren't going to be happy. And you could very easily lose the attention of the fan base just as quickly as you got it back. I don't know that I would be in a Patrik Laine trade unless I got him at a discount, unfortunately, because he is an intriguing player. So I'm going to conclude with that. Obviously, Laine requesting a trade is a significant development, and there should be some ripple effects. When do I think he could be traded? Probably draft. We're a couple weeks away from the draft, so we'll see what happens. We'll keep you guys updated with more details as they emerge. I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think about the Laine trade request in the comments. Where do you think he'll end up? Like I said, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of this weekend. We'll do some giveaways to show our appreciation, guys. If you're not following the Twitter account already, it's at FlyersHW. You guys can find me at Jim Ike, JIMIKE HW on Instagram, Twitter. So yeah, anywhere you guys want to find our content, it's out there. Thank you for watching. Maybe we'll be back once again this weekend, or, at the very latest, you'll find me and Jack back during the week for another one of our podcast episodes. See you guys. Have a good weekend. Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there, by the way, Jack specifically. Take care.